Hi, today I've got this magical rain card to share with you. I used a variety of stamp and die sets to create this card, including this set that came free with the magazine from Clearly Besotted, and it was called April Showers, and out of this set I used the umbrella. And I've got this Heffy Doodle set and I used the puddle stamp out of this one. And then I used some Lawn Fawn sets and I used Really High Five, and I used the bear and the rabbit out of this set. So first of all, I just inked up my stamps and stamped my images. And then I used my alcohol markers and I coloured them all in. When I'm shading, I tend to go darker around the edges and I just try and sort of interpret where I think the shadows might be. And I just usually use a shade darker just around those edges. And then sometimes if I don't have like a darker shade, I'll just go over that area with the same marker a few times just to make it more dark. Next I use my distress inks to make a background for the card. And I'll use some blues and greens and I'll blend them all together. I keep going back over the colours to blend them all nicely, especially the lighter colours at the bottom. And then once I've finished that, I spritz some water onto it. And then I use my paper towel to just dab off the excess water, and then it leaves sort of a rain splattered background effect. Next I cut out this hill shape border for the bottom of my card, and I just drew like a hill shape and cut it out myself. And then I use green distress inks to ink blend the hill. Next I've got some clouds for the top of the card. And again, I didn't have a die for this, so what I did is I went ahead and found some images and I used my Cricut machine to cut them out. I add some light grey ink onto the clouds to give them a bit of depth. And then I go around the borders of the clouds with blue distress ink to make it stand out more. Next I take my ruler and I use it to draw little lines along the top and the bottom of my card, and I draw them every ½ centimetre. Then I stick some really thick foam tape along the top and the bottom of the card, and then I can still see the lines at the top and the bottom of my card, and I'm using these lines as a reference as to where to put my string. And here I've got my clear nylon thread and I'm putting 5 beads on each thread. I used an anti-static tool and I went along the edges of the foam tape just to make sure that the beads don't stick to it when they're sliding up and down the card. Once all my strings and beads are secured in place, I take an additional piece of foam for each side and put it on top. And then I go along and cut all the excess thread off. Then I adhere my border on top of the bottom foam pad and my clouds along the top. And there you can see my magical rain cards really starting to come together. I used the dies in the set to die cut my umbrella and my critters, and I fussy cut my little puddles. And then I'm just trying them in different positions on the card until I find a way I like them. And I take some double-sided tape and I adhere them all down. Next I stamped out my sentiments, and I did initially try to stamp them straight onto the border and the clouds, but it didn't work out so well because it was so thick. It was really hard to get my stamping press to stay in place, so I had to use an acrylic block, and because the stamp didn't impress properly the first time, it meant that it was hazy when I tried to go over it again. So in the end I stamped the sentiments onto white cardstock, cut them out and put them on top of the cloud and the border. Next I take the entire rain shaker and adhere it onto the card base. And then I just have to trim the edge off because it's a little bit thick on the right hand border. And that's it, a magical rain card. I really enjoyed making this one and I really liked the way it came out. Thanks for watching guys, I hope you enjoyed this one too. Bye for now.